In today's video, you'll see how the sidewalls of a nail can curve in so far that they cut grooves under the nail bed. I'm going to remove those sharp pieces of the nail so she is more comfortable. You'll learn a lot just from our conversation because she is a nurse and she asks excellent questions. And the before and after photos are so good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
In probably around 2000 and my God.
Yeah, but like it literally, I mean, I haven't had anybody ever say that it worked, so I don't know how it can be approved for the application that it's approved for. Oh man.
It was a lot worse.
Are you still nursing?
I am, but I work from home. It's just phone triage.
Oh wow.
And it's just I retired a year ago, May. And so now it's just a few times a month. And those are the toenails that are curling.
Yeah, I saw that on your other foot for sure. But
Yeah. I don't know if that's, age, related to age.
I think it's dehydration.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I am so good about the water.
Well, some of it can be caused from a medication. Like, you know how you can take a medication?
Hydrochloric
Yep! And you get that total dry mouth? Yeah, so not only is it dehydrating or drying out your mouth, it's also coming out in all of your cells of your body. So, and these little white lines that are going down it, just like when you bend a piece of plastic and it gets those stress lines, that's what those are, little stress lines.
Up my intake then.
But the product that you're gonna get for your big toenails especially, you can put it on all of your toenails and it adds moisture and it'll help a lot.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's curling all the way under. I just gave a class in Gatlinburg.
Oh.
And this would have been a great example of teaching them how to find the edges, because I kept trying to cut this side and I could not get the nipper under, and that's why, because it's hidden way underneath. Are you from Canada?
No.
No.
Why do you ask?
Because a lot of people from Canada call their big toes great toes.
Oh.
And people in the United States don't.
Oh, never knew that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because of nursing.
Yeah. Medical terminology. I'm gonna pull that because it could be attached, so I'll loosen that up. How many years were you a nurse?
So far it's been 28 years.
That's how long I've been doing this.
Really? For toes?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whatever made you get involved with this? So many people have problems.
I became known for it. I mean, once I became a nail technician, and I remember the very first pedicure I ever did in a salon, and it was horrible conditions because the salon was not set up properly for the service. I had to sit on the floor with a Dr. Scholl's foot bath. I have terrible hip problems from that because I would have to put the person's foot on my knees, and the weight would like open up your,
The pelvic area.
yeah. And anyway, after the first pedicure, they were like, "This is the best pedicure I've ever had in my life." I was like, "How could you possibly say that? Look where we are." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And so then they would tell a friend, and then that person started coming, and I was like, I gotta get better accommodations.
And what moved you to Saline, or do you always?
No, I've lived in Salon for about 14 years,
Oh, okay.
but I've owned the salon for 20.
Anyone who didn't already know or see any of my posts about moving, we did sell our salon in Michigan and we moved to Arizona in 2022.
And I just found you accidentally back in the spring.
Oh, wow.
I was watching someone, I think, came up from Kentucky.
Okay.
I think she was a security guard or something. She drove up and she was saying it's her first time in Michigan. And I'm going, I wonder if she's local. Sure enough.
That's fantastic.
Because I've always kind of been sensitive about that. I was, a little bit hurt, but you know what? There's so many other things in life to be concerned about, so we laugh it off.
Right.
In fact, they all know that I'm coming here today, and
Oh, good.
they go, Nana, are you getting your tunnel toes fixed? And I said, I don't know, I hope so.
Yeah. You'll just have a little bit of homework at home, and you should be all fixed up in just a couple
Yesterday I soaked
months.
my feet in, and I don't typically do this, but I soaked them in Listerine and water. And then I took
Today's most liked comment is from Vampire Robe. They say, something I've always loved about your channel, Lori, is that you rip other companies a new one and read them the riot act for not providing the level of service they should, all without specifically calling them out and trashing their business. You always keep it very classy. Love it. I don't like drama, so I know I've never scolded a company, but I have mentioned different business models of salons. I'm trying to help clients find salons where they can get the help they need without being made to feel self-conscious and get the type of pedicure that they want that includes soaking the feet. It's not my way or their way, it's what the clients want, the client's way. It's definitely a perspective issue, and many professionals don't like feet and don't see the big picture of client care and the health of the nails, and I think that is sad. There definitely needs to be a mind shift around the care of the feet and bridging that gap between salon and podiatrist, all while staying cosmetic, is definitely my mission. So thank you for the confidence.
We had a duck in the family, so we were over, at their house and stuff.
Oh,
You
sorry.
just sit around and,
Comfort.
Yeah. And that's right, my other granddaughter got in on it. She's 9. I do have a Dremel, but I don't use it much at all. Because, I'm not experienced.
Well, I do, since you only just found me, I have an online course site with an electric file course training that will teach you how to use it properly so you don't hurt yourself.
Well, and you know, mine I got at Home Depot.
Oh yeah, you don't want to use that one on yourself.
It's just a miniature one.
Okay. The RPM still can be really, really high.
Yeah.
Do you know at the lowest speed that this rotates 53 times per second?
Oh.
Per second. So if you're not using the correct angle or pressure or bit, you can touch this to your skin and go right through yourself.
And I've had, for lack of a better term, like a nail polish, but it's not a nail polish. It's a Lamisil tea tree oil. And then you just paint your toenails with that. You're supposed to do it morning and night, and always cleanse your feet before and after. I mean, before you put it on. And I didn't notice much of a difference, and then I, you know, just was doing it. I still have half a bottle. And that was given to me, well, I bought it at the podiatrist's office probably 2 years ago, maybe 3.
Yeah, that kind of product, I don't want to say in theory, because when you have the explanation explained to you, then in theory it wouldn't work anyway. But if you just said the practical application, this is what you should be doing. But when toenails are this thick and you polish on something that has a product in it that's supposed to deter nail fungus, if it can't penetrate down to the source of the problem, it's not going to help. And it dries. As soon as it dries, it's ineffective. So I have no idea. Like, I think I need to go into the medical industry and get a product approved.
I've always had thick nails for as long as I can remember. Probably since my teens, because I have to cut my fingernails quite often, and they're very hard to trim. And I think too, but I'll ask your opinion, when I look at my fingernails and my toenails, there's a slight curvature. There is a curvature. And I never bothered me. I was born like that. And
Yeah.
And then there's people that truly are
Hypersensitive
not
reflexes.
people,
Yeah.
you know?
They just must have had a bad experience at a young age or something, because it feels so good.
So where were you vacationing when you texted me?
Arizona,
Whereabouts?
just outside of Phoenix.
Okay. My husband was born and raised in Tucson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Back in the day when all they had was a little Adobe hospital.
Oh, wow.
And he was born there, and quite large. He was 10 something, 10'9", 10'11". And they didn't have diapers big enough. Of course, they were cloth diapers at that time. Yeah. Yeah, that area has really grown up, and Phoenix is huge.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't believe it.
Scottsdale and
They have neighborhoods all over the place with hundreds of houses halfway built, just waiting for people to walk in and say, I want this countertop and this fixture and this, and then they finish it because it's growing that fast that people just are buying up houses left and right.
Oh my goodness. I see the little tunnels in that great toe. I'm gonna wear shoes from my son-in-law. So funny. It's so goodness. So what time do I come back next week?
Next week.
Is it gonna be every Friday at 9 a.m.? I would imagine I should keep nail polish off my, yeah, figured.
Maybe 8 weeks and you can start wearing nail polish again.
Well, it's okay if I go natural for a long time. You know, many years I polished them all the time,
Right.
even in the winter. Now, what is this you're applying?
This is the callus remover.
Oh, okay.
It helps dissolve any of the non-living tissue so I can file it off easier.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Pathetic, I know.
the arching that's happening here,
Yes.
that's gonna stop. Once you start using the product and your nail starts to grow, it'll widen back up, and so it'll stop digging into
Really?
these two corners right here. Yeah.
That's,
And as the nail lays down, then you won't see that. The stuff that you see on the back of the nail is part of your like exfoliated nail bed stuck to the back of your toenail. But you're always going to make sure, like this toenail is too long, there's no nail bed holding down the toenail.
right,
And
but I
so,
didn't want to clip them.
yeah. But when they get a little bit too long and then they get wet from a shower and then they dehydrate, when there's no nail bed underneath holding it down, it will just whoop, pinch right in.
Okay.
So you're gonna keep your toenail cut a little bit shorter.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure, then I thought, well, just let them go.
Yeah, oh no, that's perfect for today. Just in between at home, I want you to trim them a little bit or use a file and shorten them a little bit, like every 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then these stress lines are gonna go away.
Sorry, it's a little bit blurry. I zoomed in too far, and when you zoom in too far, sometimes it tries to focus on something else. But you can see pretty good, and there's a lot of good information in this segment, so I left it in.
Yeah, when anybody says that you don't need a pair of sharp nippers, that is the furthest thing from the truth. been embedded down in there for so long, the skin's got to let go of it.
Mm-hmm.
Relax your toes.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. What was your specialty in nursing?
When I first started out, it was cardiology.
Okay.
And then I went to inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's and colitis. So, how long does it take to clear the nail fungus?
Well, once we get this cleaned out from underneath and I can see how far down it's actually detached from your nail bed, and or if it's detached from your nail bed, and it's hard to determine the thickness of a toenail when it's squeezed so much because the tissue gets pushed up underneath the toe.
Right.
But if your toenail were completely detached from your toe, it takes about 8 to 10 months for a whole toenail to regrow. But I think it's only from like right here. So it'll probably take about 4 5 months.
And this is a daily routine.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
super simple. It's one drop.
Okay.
You're gonna put one drop right there, and it's just gonna soak underneath the toenail and into the nail plate.
And you don't have to vein.
So I think that the ingrown toenail surgery just failed. They didn't use the acid probably properly. So
Yeah, it's just
the
that
part of the
one
toenail that should have been destroyed is still growing.
area. I just usually clip it off.
Yeah, that happens a lot to people.
And I just, should I just keep trimming it down really low by the nail bed? Or should I let it grow and even with the rest of the toe?
Well, it depends on if it's attached at all to the other part.
Only at the base.
Because you don't want it to grow if it's going to get caught on something and get ripped off.
Good point.
Relax your toes. There you go.
You're very gentle.
Thanks.
I think I've had maybe 10 pedicures in my life. And manicures. I just usually take care of my own nails. But I remember one time, when it was the left toe, and all the girls on vacation decided to go have a pedicure. And, oh, man, it hurt so bad on that left right toe. And she,
No.
and she was trimming the nails, and they were ingrown. And just decided, gotta do something about these, so that's when I had the laser surgery. And I thought that would take care of the tunnel toes. That's what we call them. But it didn't.
Now another thing to look at is your footwear. Wearing flip-flops with in between the toe things, totally fine. If you wear a lot of slides that are like croc type shoes.
I don't.
Okay, good.
I don't even own a pair.
Me either.
I don't like my feet sweating.
Yeah. You know, I told somebody yesterday, they're like, well, what's wrong with Crocs? I said, see all those holes in them? They're like, yeah. I said, that's by design because your feet sweat like maniac. Like you have to have holes in your shoes.
No.
You'll be walking around in puddles.
You know, well, and I've never had Crocs for nursing or that type of shoe or anything.
Like those mule clog things.
Mm-mm.
Those are really hard on nurses' feet.
And it causes back issues eventually.
Yep. And hammer toes, and ram's horns, and pincer nails.
And that's what I have, right? Is pincer nails.
Yeah.
I learned that from your website. Watching, I'm thinking, I kept more Googling and stuff. I thought, well, you know what? I'm calling.
So being in the medical industry, have you ever heard the term involuted?
Yes.
It took you a second to, you're
know,
like,
I'm
wait a
thinking-
minute, I think I heard that maybe like in 1974 when I started in the industry. Yeah. The Canadian medical industry uses that term a lot, but no one in the United States knows what it means, especially a everyday person off the street.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why I had to think. I haven't heard that for a while.
Right.
Are you from Canada, though? Or?
No.
Okay. So, how far, what's the farthest day that you've had a client come from?
See all of those pins up there?
Oh, okay.
That's,
Oh my goodness. Well, you could pin me at Florida too, because I go there for about 3 months in the winter as of last year. Oh, and that's a question I had to ask you too. Do you need to see me back at a specific time, or?
I think that you can probably manage at home.
Okay.
So if you don't want to come back, you don't have to. Some people, when they're within driving distance, come back at least one time. It also depends on how full my schedule is.
Right.
We're gonna let those soak again before I pull out that piece of toenail.
I never had it done with a metal device like that.
Yeah, because I can disinfect in between every client and it works like a charm.
That's good. I have a couple friends that they use like a, I don't know what it is, but a type of razor
Oh yeah.
to get their,
Heels.
oh my gosh. Nope, no one's doing that.
No,
The risk of infection's too great.
absolutely. So it's actually against the law for salons to use it, but some salons,
As of when?
as of like 20 years ago.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, because
Yeah.
I was going to say, if it's just recent,
Oh,
maybe
no.
they don't do it.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, you are not allowed to use any kind of razor blade.
Well, I'm thinking it looked, I mean, how else would they, shave off is there another device? Maybe
Their
on this
salons
side.
aren't even allowed to use the rasps that are like the cheese graters.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to use those either.
Usually I don't have this much callus, but it has been flip-flop season and bare feet a lot.
Yes. And concrete, hard surfaces,
Just
and
say our brick pavers around our
Yeah.
pool.
just soil, even dust from soil that's on pavement. It gets embedded into the little teeny tiny crevices on people's feet. Like we were in Arizona and I had to get up in the middle of the night and go wash my feet because my heels were sore. It was like, I'm like, why do my heels hurt so bad? And it's because of all of the microbes and dermatophytes and stuff that are just in soil.
Yeah.
And you can have allergies to mica and all kinds of stuff that are in loose particulate like that. And I went in, washed my feet, and I was able to go right back to sleep because I stopped throbbing.
I don't think you did a good enough job on this one. I think you need some more scrub.
Should I slather you down some more?
Oh, goodness.
I remember one pedicure I was giving my husband, and I finished with a foot massage on the second leg. And he goes,
Yeah.
"You rubbed Mr. Righty more than Mr. Lefty. Can you go back and rub Mr. Lefty?" I'm like, oh my gosh, you big baby.
But it is very comfortable. Very soothing. My son-in-law has a book on, I don't want to mispronounce, some type of flexology?
Reflexology.
Oh, okay. couple videos that I've watched, you pull out.
The pressure from the toenails being pushed into the skin, your skin exfoliates all over your whole body. It even exfoliates in your nail walls, but when the toenail is pressing against the skin so hard, this exfoliated skin can't, it can't get washed away. And so you get this excessive amount of buildup, which causes pressure, which causes more exfoliation, which is just a great big terrible catch-22. So when we clean out all of these nail walls, you're gonna have a tremendous amount of relief, and it's gonna make space, because now, like when you look down into this, you can actually see space in between the skin and the toenail. So when you start using your product, your toenail is gonna relax, and it's actually gonna move back over. So it's gonna stop getting pushed, you know, over into the
now,
sides.
would this be a lifetime thing that I would be doing? Because you talk about the
Well,
hydration
it just
of the toenail.
it just depends on once your nail walls go back to where they're supposed to be, as long as you don't let your toenails get super long again, you might not ever have the problem again. I mean, I have tons and tons and tons and tons of people who are like, I'm cured, like I've never had a problem again. But just like when you...
So where my toes, you've cut my toes at right now.
That's where you want to keep them.
Is typically how I do.
Okay, good.
And there's, I am under the impression, and I've heard, that when you do clip your toenails, it's always straight across and even. You don't go below the, what would you call that?
Well, you can cut your toenail in the shape of the smile line of the attachment point of your hyponychium. So you see this extra space here?
Yeah.
Now that can dig into your skin. So you can make it a little smiley face. When people say straight across or square, what they mean is don't cut it at an angle, like a trapezoid from here to here.
Oh, I see.
Don't cut down into your nail wall,
Okay.
but you can make it a little smiley face.
Straight across is fine with me. I'm good with that. I just trying to get facts.
It's those corners that cause the pressure, that when the toenail starts to squeeze or get too long, it's right here where all of that pressure goes.
Okay.
So smiley face is much, much better than a square, sharp square. It's still straight across depending, because it's the attachment point of the hyponychium. So it's actually, if this was a millimeter longer than the attachment point, it's actually going to be a millimeter longer all the way around.
Okay.
So do you have an ingrown sidewall cleaner? One of these little tools. So
yeah, I do have one of those.
okay, I was gonna say we have some up front. You'll want to get one of these because you'll just want to make sure that all of this debris is cleaned out from underneath there. Be careful, don't get under there and hurt yourself. Yeah, you don't want to cause any injury.
No, too much risk to infection.
Yep. Do you remember being a teenager and your mom saying you have to train your bangs? If you keep combing them over this way, they'll stay. You have to train your bangs.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
so when your toenails have been growing in the wrong position for so long, they've actually got those grooves. They're getting pulled into, your toenail has been trained to grow in a pinching position. So now we've got to reposition those grooves. So by keeping them clear and then the skin moisturized, everything can relax and move back into its original position.
Okay. Is this something you can use on your film? But oh, they're so doggone hard. Oh, that's cute.
Isn't it?
And one of my favorite colors.
Oh, good. I just had a lot of great conversations with nail technicians at this trade show. And they were like, well, I was taught to do it like this. And I said, why? What's the benefit? Well, I don't know. I said, so someone told you to do something and you didn't ask why? What was the benefit? And they were like, well, that's just the way that they said to do it. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to explain to you why that's not a good idea. And if you do it like this, then it'll be better. And then I told him, and they're like, that makes so much sense. I'm like, next time somebody tells you to do something, you ask them why.
Right.
And then you make up your mind. If that makes sense.
Well, I don't know when or who told me this, but I know it was back in my 20s that when you file your nails, you should always do one side and you always work this way and then work that way. You shouldn't go back and forth.
That's only for symmetry. It's only,
Oh.
it's, yeah, that's it. It's because people can't balance, yeah. But if so you take a center point and you say, this is the middle, and then you say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and chances are you're going to get a pretty symmetrically shaped toenail, but there is absolutely zero benefit of filing back and forth, or there's no, it's dead keratin. You can't hurt this toenail. You can't. Yeah, can't hurt it. This is the good part. Until you stand up, and then that is the really good part. Your feet feel like fluffy pillows.
So see this scar right? You kind of see it.
Yeah.
So the story about that is back in 75, I had moved up to Tucson, Arizona with my aunt and uncle. I had just graduated high school and I was working at McDonald's, which in fact is where I met my husband.
Oh,
which is
fun.
so weird. And but before I met him, I was on a hike through Sabino Canyon. That's when you could just hike up through there and there, you know. And we were, you know, with some friends, and we had brought a 2-liter pop. It was before they had the shatterproof.
Okay.
And so it was glass.
Oh, yeah.
And we were standing on a ledge, and I'm looking down, and I started getting dizzy. And the bottle of 7-Up broke and glass shot into my leg.
Oh my gosh, it like bounced off the rock and
Yeah, and it just,
torpedoed into your body.
right, there was a couple pieces, and so that was back in 75, and so of course went to ER, and they, you know, dug it out, blah, 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 and I had stitches. Well, I'd always said, since then, I still feel like there's a piece of glass in there. So back in 85, I think it was, now that's, oh, well, it is 10 years later.
Yeah.
I went to my primary care physician, and I'm telling this story. He says, I doubt very serious there's glass in there. And I said, I'm telling you, every once in a while I get a shooting pain.
Yeah.
I said, there's glass in there. So he went ahead and opened it up in his office. Sure enough, he found 2 tiny, tiny pieces of glass. And he's going, I can't believe, because if you do an x-ray, that's not going to show up on the glass.
Right.
Or on the x-ray.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I don't know why I brought that up.
So I had, because when I push on it, it could hurt, because I had glass in my elbow from a car accident, and the same thing, I was like, there's still glass in my arm, and Bruce was like,
No, it doesn't hurt anymore.
they did that fluoroscopy x-ray machine, and they were trying to remove it, and I had been under for too long, and they're like, 45 minutes is all we can do, we can't get any more pieces out of it. They had tweezers stuck in my arm this deep because my arm had swelled up so bad.
Oh my gosh.
And they couldn't get the pieces out, and so it healed up, and I kept saying every single time I would lean my arm on my nail table, I'm like, I can feel there's still glass in there. And one day sitting at Thanksgiving dinner, we were at his dad's house, and I was like, oh my gosh, it hurts so bad, and I just went like this and squeezed my arm. It was back here on my elbow. Whoop, and it shot.
It worked its way out.
Shot right out of my arm. And
Oh my goodness.
it was probably 10 years later. Yeah.
Wow.
It drove me crazy every single day, because every single time I leaned my elbow on my nail table, I was like, ow, and I would have to reposition it.
Wow. You're the first person I've talked to that has had that
Kind of
similar
similar.
experience.
I have a lot of people take my training and become foot care nurses, people who were nurses.
Oh, really?
They go into their own practice of
Oh.
being a foot care nurse.
I didn't realize my feet were so
Sore,
Yeah.
toxins, yeah.
And then as you do this, they get better. How long have you been doing videos?
6 years.
Okay.
All right, you can bend your knee, put your foot right there.
It's funny how that fourth toe on both feet are turning weird. They used to be straight. But maybe I should tape 2 of them together. Well, now that's dumb. Putting in tape and moisture and infection and yeah. So they'll just be funny toes.
How's this feel?
Fine. Did it come out okay?
Yeah. I just want it to release slowly, because sometimes if it's so embedded into skin and you pull it, it can tear the skin, and I don't want you to leak. No body fluids today.
Now, as far as clippers and stuff, so I just replenished mine back in the spring, and I went to Sally Beauty, and probably did not get a quality product. I don't know. But what brand would you suggest? I do have a friend who's a hairdresser, so I can always go with her.
Right. I suggest my brand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you are new. Yeah. So all of the tools that you see me using are all my brand. We sell them all up front, and then we have a website
Okay.
where everything's online. These are surgical steel, so they're very strong.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know. So you can see I kind of just didn't research a whole lot, just watched videos and went by faith.
That's okay. There's a lot of videos. I have over 500 videos on that channel.
Oh, my granddaughter's 13. She goes, you know, this is Callus. At first, we were watching one of them, and she's going, ooh, ooh. Then I had to leave, and so she texted me. She goes, or no, she called me, and she goes, you know what, Nana? This is kind of soothing. You're weird, just like me. So like I told my husband, I said I feel so sorry for people because I know what it's like.
Yeah, and they haven't been able to get the help that they need.
Right.
And every step that they take is so painful. That's why, I mean, self-care is so important. It does not get the attention that it needs in mainstream world.
Well, your feet hurt. It affects a lot of activities of daily life.
Absolutely. I mean, just think about all of the other diseases that could be cured with good foot care. Diabetes, obesity, all kinds of things that are affected by exercise or lack of exercise, heart disease, all kinds of stuff.
Do you hold classes to teach other people, other manicurists?
Yeah. I have online training, and then once a year in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, there's a trade show just for nail technicians, and I hold classes there.
How often should I be? Is it buffing my nails like what you're doing right now?
Anytime you start to see a discoloration of yellow,
Okay.
you can buff them. The product will help lift out any embedded stain. Yeah. But this is also good for smoothing off any little rough edges that might catch on a sock. Not that you're gonna have socks on in the next probably couple months because of the summertime. But you will literally be able to watch these divots disappear, because as your nail grows, your nail wall is going to come back out here. That skin's going to get pushed down. It's going to open all back up. That's okay.
I didn't realize it. Let me just stretch this out a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Am I pressing too hard?
Oh no, not at all. Sometimes my right hip will be weird.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's sciatica.
Gotcha.
Sciatic.
What part of Florida do you guys go to?
Punta Gorda.
Okay.
It's north of Fort Myers.
Okay.
I think I need to train my husband how to do foot rubs.
Yeah.
So I'll practice on him. What would be a good lotion to use? Do you have that here?
We do have a couple of good lotions up front. No, that's a new one. I've not heard that one for
Really?
toenails. No, I've heard it for drinking it
Jellyfish. Drinking it?
for arthritis. Yep. There's all kinds of stupid on the internet.
Yeah. I have rheumatoid arthritis, a mild case.
Yeah, me too.
And I've never heard that one.
Thanks so much for staying for the before and after photos. What do you think about how deep those nail grooves are? Once the nail is removed, you can really see how deep that was. I think she will be successful at home using her Restore nail. Let me know what kind of issues you need help with on your toenails at home, and I'll see you next time. You can also choose from one of our many playlists if you're having a problem with pincer toenail, thick toenails, ingrown toenails, lifted toenails, etc. Just click on my channel and then click the playlists.